You've still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Working as a dedicated Fidelity advisor, I always ask, what's important to you? I'll look at those priorities and goals alongside your full financial picture to build a comprehensive plan designed to help grow and protect your wealth. With proactive portfolio insights and an eye on taxes, I'm here to help you make the most of your money. I'm Laura Maxwell, and I'm a dedicated Fidelity advisor. Learn more at fidelity.com/wealth. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC, member NYSE, SIPC.
This is the Verizon Extra Innings Show. Verizon, the most reliable 5G in St. Louis.
The 3-2 pitch. Here it is from O'Brien. A swing and a ground ball up the middle. Donovan backhands, plants, throws. He got him for a Redbird winner. A Redbird winner at Dodger Stadium. And the Cardinals take 2 out of 3 from L.A. and finish the road trip 3-3 to San Diego and Los Angeles.
That's a good win today for the Cardinals. Welcome into the Extra Innings Show. The Extra Innings Show on KMOX is being presented by Gray Bar. Gray Bar is your distributor for electrical and datacom needs. Before we even get going with the game, just kind of so you know what's going on from a programming standpoint, we're going to do a pretty quick Extra Innings Show here. We'll wrap up right before the 7 o'clock news, and then we'll get rolling with Sports Open Line just after the 7 o'clock news. And Bernie Miklas is going to join us right out of the gate at about 7:05. So even though we're ending the Extra Innings Show after about 5-6 minutes, we are going to keep the Cardinals conversation rolling all the way until 8 o'clock this evening as we jump into Sports Open Line. But if you want to join the program, you can do so by calling, texting 314-436-7900, 314-436-7900. You can tweet at me at Matt Pauley on air. For those of you who are watching on the video stream, you can just leave a comment in the chat. And also, so you know, we'll keep this stream going so you don't have to go anywhere. You'll continue on into Sports Open Line with us. I thought this was a heck of a win. I thought it was a really good win. The fact that they had so many opportunities to come up with big hits and score big runs early, and they kept not doing that, and eventually they came through. And that's a little bit different than what we see more often than not with this Cardinals team. When they're having those nights where they just can't buy a hit with runners in scoring position, it just never comes. And eventually it did come today. They got some help from the Dodgers as well, not trying to gloss over that. But when you force the issue in that moment, you're able to get some. And they got a little bit lucky too. Like Alec Burleson arguably should have tagged from second on the Pozo fly ball. Burleson had come too far off of second, so he had to go back in. If Burleson is at third and not at second on that Walker hit, they may the way the Dodgers play that might have been different, and that could have resulted in the error not occurring. And at that point, you're sitting with a tie game in that spot. So you don't know for sure what it would have looked like, but the point is sometimes it's okay to be a little bit lucky as well. So what looked like a bit of a missed opportunity, I don't want to call it a mistake, but a bit of a missed opportunity on a base running thing might have actually paid out some dividends the way this thing went down. And Sam sent in a message. This was actually kind of what was going to be part of my lead today, but we'll run with this message from Sam, who says, what a job by the bullpen going 5 innings without giving a run up to give the Cardinals an opportunity to make a comeback. Bullpen was great. Kyle Leahy, 2 2/3 innings, doesn't give up a hit, 4 strikeouts. He goes out there and throws 30. It only took him 31 pitches to go 2 2/3 innings, and he got 4 strikeouts. Strikeouts cost you a good number of pitches, and so I mean that's just, you look at that and you go, huh? How do you do that? And it's a really good day for him. Jojo Romero did his job. I'm riveted right now by the idea of how the Cardinals are going to handle the back end of games. And I hope you were listening during the network postgame show, because we heard Oliver Marmol talk about this a little bit. You have one lefty reliever, period. You have one lefty leverage reliever. That's what I was about to say. You only have one lefty at all, but you only have one lefty that you can use in any type of leverage. and he's the guy that you're going to give most of the ninth inning save situation opportunities to. However, there are going to be times that it presents itself that as that lefty high leverage guy, he's going to be more valuable, say, in the eighth inning than he would be in the ninth inning. And this is one of those games. Now, admittedly, he came into the game when they were trailing, so it wasn't like they were choosing between him with a hold in the eighth and a save in the ninth. So there's a little bit of nuance to what we're talking about here. But the fact that they did go to JoJo Romero where they went to him is notable, because he comes in there in the seventh inning and he strikes out Shohei Ohtani to get out of the inning, and that keeps this game in a manageable spot where the Cardinals still have that opportunity to come away and do something, and Romero ends up getting the win as a result of when he was in there. So he is now 4-3. But I like so many of these relievers that this team has, and again, I always kind of question myself when I say this, because it's not like I'm not being critical of three guys who I thought the world of in Ryan Helsley, Phil Maton, and Steven Matz. I think of all the areas where there was depth on the team to make up for it, it's the bullpen, and there's a lot of really interesting pieces that I'm excited to be able to see. Our guy Ball Game sending in a message, as he normally does, says this LA version of the tip of the cap and raise of the glass might be the first during daylight hours. Jordan Walker gets the cap for collecting 3 hits and deserving the one that was lost in the sun. He'll leave LA confident. The glass goes to the boys in the pen. OW for JoJo, a first save for O'Brien. Text message from the 636 says, Dr. Jekyll on Tuesday, Mr. Hyde on Wednesday. Yeah. Yes, and I think that's what this team is going to continue to be. And a lot of teams are like that. If you really pay attention across Major League Baseball, a lot of teams are like that, maybe not to the extent that the Cardinals are, but when you can see the good version of this team 2 out of 3 times and they take 2 out of 3 from the Dodgers, you absolutely take that every time. Henry sends in a message, says, amazing win for the Cardinals to win the series against the Dodgers. Massive series coming up against the Cubs. Walker had a great day at the plate. Bullpen was nails. Donnie had a great bunt. What a gutsy decision by Brendan Donovan to put down that bunt for the Cardinals to score their first run of the day. And the way things went, where they lost the lead, I feel like that kind of gets lost in the whole thing. Putting down a bunt with 2 outs, not always the best decision in the world. And he did it right there, and it was just credit to Donovan for the bunt single. Really like that. STL Girl says Walker had a good game. He did. I mentioned the numbers since coming off the injury list. He's been really good here for a while, and that's a good step forward for him for sure. Teresa sends in a text, says, great relief pitching, striking out Ohtani, nothing to shrug off. The Bats did a good job today as well. They got there. The Bats, 12 hits is a really good day. They were struggling for a while with runners in scoring position. Their final numbers today with the runners in scoring position, not good, 4 for 18. But I would focus more on the 4 part. You got 4 hits with runners in scoring position. You had a lot of opportunities. And 4 for 18, it's not a good average, but the 4 hits, they came late. They eventually were able to get to it. So that's a good sign as well. We are being presented by Gray Barn. Gray Barn is your distributor for electrical and datacom needs. And What's on Deck is sponsored by Chesterfield Fence and Deck. The sign you have, the very best, chesterfieldfence.com. Cardinals are off tomorrow. They're back at it at home Friday night, opening up a 3-game weekend series against the Cubs. Michael McGreevy is going to go for the Cardinals, 3-2. Lefty Matthew Boyd goes for the Cubs. He's 11-4. 7:15 first pitch coming up on Friday night. Our coverage will begin with Redbird Rush Hour at 5 o'clock, and then network coverage will begin at 6:20. Don't go anywhere. Sports Open Line on the way next, right here on your home of the Cardinals, KMOX.
You know Gray Bar for electrical parts, but there's one more thing you may not be thinking of us for that can help maximize your next project's total value. Our pre-project planning services are designed to help you productive across your entire build. The sooner you call us, the better. Because when we're there from the beginning, we can anticipate your needs and help you solve problems before they become problems. Yep, Gray Bar does that.
There's a big red barn where you say green, orange barn and more. Norm Wilkie. Come see my new selection of Amish cabinetry made by my good Amish friends at Countrywood Products. We now stock 5 styles of cabinetry for you to choose from.
When you need to save on discount windows, doors, and cabinetry, come to Norm's Bargain Barn. With locations in Shiloh and Fenton at the bottom of Gravois Bluffs. Visit normsbargainbarn.com.
That's normsbargainbarn.com.
Paul's new drone startup just lost its most genius computer scientist.
We just lost our best genius to some new genius who's got a genius new idea. I'm going to have to find a new genius, or 2 half geniuses, and fast.
He needs a computer scientist that can keep his startup from falling down.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
At Sandberg Phoenix, we are more than just a law firm. Our attorneys are committed to you, your business, and your community. From startups to established businesses to estate plans, we are ready to serve you in the areas of business, business litigation, intellectual property, health law, and products liability. With offices in Missouri and Illinois, you can conveniently visit us today at sandbergphoenix.com. That's sandbergphoenix.com. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertising.
News, talk, cards. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Jennifer Kuiper. President Trump and Apple CEO Tim Cook announced a plan for the big tech company to invest an additional $100 billion in the U.S., taking its total investment to $600 billion. CBS's Linda Kenyon has more.
The president says this is a massive investment.
This is the largest investment Apple has ever made.
Trump said it's all part of bringing American manufacturing back home.
We're doing everything possible to make this the best place on earth to build a factory or grow businesses.
And that includes slapping 100% tariffs on chips and semiconductors not made in America.
If you're building in the United States or have committed to build, without question committed to build in the United States, there will be no charge.
Further driving chip makers back to the U.S. Linda Kenyon, CBS News, Washington.
Wall Street ended higher with the Nasdaq up more than 1%, led by Apple. President Trump says he's working to help Russia and Ukraine reach an end to the war. He calls his U.S. envoys meeting with Vladimir Putin in Moscow today highly productive. And the president said he could personally get involved. CBS's Weijia Zhang with that.
Now, we don't know for certain that he said, I plan to meet with Putin and Zelensky, or put a time frame on that. But he says he is open to meeting with both of those leaders because he wants to broker an end to the conflict.
President Trump pumps up tariffs on India. CBS's Kelly O'Grady explains.
The president just signed an executive order saying that there will be an additional 25% tariff. So that would bring the total tariff rate up to 50% on India because they are buying Russian oil.
China also buys oil from Russia, but it was not included in the executive order. 5 soldiers are shot at a U.S. Army base. They're expected to recover. Officials say the suspect is a fellow sergeant who was tackled by others at the shooting scene and held until police arrived. CBS's Skylar Henry is at Fort Stewart in Georgia.
He is 28 years old, from Jacksonville, Florida. Has yet to see combat. Officials are still trying to get to the bottom of exactly why he decided to do what he did. They say that there are no records or incidents of note as it relates to disciplinary actions.
A new study suggests the death toll from wildfires that ravaged the Los Angeles area earlier this year is far higher than the official toll, which was 31. Study author Andrew Stokes of Boston University says there could be 440 more deaths attributed to the fires.
These deaths are not only attributable to the direct effects of the wildfires, but also people living with lung or heart conditions whose disease was exacerbated by smoke or stress, as well as indirect deaths such as from disruptions to health systems and mental health impacts.
This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast. from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
At 7:03, we've got some sunshine. It is 86 degrees downtown at the Arch. St. Louis police have arrested a man accused of 2 separate attacks in Tower Grove Park. 61-year-old Austin Fitzgerald is accused of kidnapping a woman after holding her and her friend at gunpoint in the park on Friday.
A man had approached them at gunpoint, demanding that they come with him. He grabbed one of the victims. He ordered one of the victims into his car. One victim complied, the other did not.
Police spokesman Mitch McCoy, Fitzgerald is accused of groping the woman before she was able to escape from his vehicle. In the second incident on Saturday, Fitzgerald is accused of assaulting a man with brass knuckles. How much money is at risk if St. Louis City loses federal funding for Lambert Airport's consolidation?
Delta Airlines is paging New York passengers.
Early estimates suggest the project could cost around $3 billion. Airport Director Rhonda Homnebrigi shares how much of that could come from the federal government.
10% of the total project between the allocated dollars that we're entitled to through the FAA and then some of the competitive.
Homnebrigi says even though federal funding only represents a fraction of the overall project budget, the consolidation cannot be done without it. Mayor Kara Spencer recently paused a city program awarding construction contracts to women and minority-owned businesses due to the belief it could cost them federal funding. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
2024 was a rebound year for startup businesses in the region, according to a new report from St. Louis Community College. After a down year in 23, St. Louis saw first-time startups increase by 50% in 24. St. Louis Community College's Phyllis Ellison says this is a prime opportunity to help recently laid off federal workers.
It's an exciting moment to be able to know that we can support them if they're looking to grow businesses. But we have to marry that up against the reality that our startup ecosystem is not as strong as it was 5 years ago.
She says over 70% of the 600 companies they surveyed said they plan to keep employment levels about the same this year. The new Six Flags, a merger of that company and fellow theme park operator Cedar Fair, is not doing so well. It posted a quarterly loss, anticipates a decline in attendance, and the CEO is stepping down. The company is already closing 2 parks and says more could be sold. What does this mean for Six Flags St. Louis? Editor of the site Theme Park Wizard, Ethan Becker, says the closest competitors being in Kansas City and Branson could help.
It's the only major park, it's like hundreds of miles, so I feel like that could be like a saving grace for the park.
The last time Six Flags reported individual park attendance figures in 2019, the only parks that St. Louis ranked above were La Ronde in Montreal, Darien Lake in Buffalo, New York, The Great Escape in Albany, and Frontier City in Oklahoma City. Forecast for tonight, clear sky, low 71. For Thursday, sunshine and a high of 92. And Friday, Saturday, Sunday, sunny, hot, humid with a high of 93. Right now, downtown at the Arch, we've got some sun. It's 86. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Let's get going now. From KMOX Sports.
We're primed and ready.
All day, baby. Man, let's go. This is the Gray Bar Sports Open Live. Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs. On 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Following Cardinals coverage, we begin just a 1-hour edition of a Gray Bar Sports Open Line right here on KMOX. My name is Matt Pauley. Welcome into the program. I would go through all the formalities that I normally do at the top of the program, but let's not worry about that because we got Bernie Miklasz waiting to talk, and I would much rather talk to him than tell you about the things we're doing this hour. Hey, Bernie, how's it going?
I'm doing good, Matt. What a nice series win for the Cardinals. I mean, whether they're out of the race or whatever, but I mean, to still go into Dodger Stadium, even though that team was struggling, the Dodgers team, that's an impressive series win. I mean, the Cardinals, as everybody knows, they hadn't won a road series since sweeping the Guardians at Cleveland in late June and had just been getting crushed on the road. So in that context, it was a surprising series victory, but a very welcome one.
Bernie, here's what struck me about today's game. We see so often when the Cardinals struggle hitting with runners in scoring position that it's going to be that way all day long, and that's why they're going to lose. They had so many opportunities in this game, and they weren't coming through. They finished 4 for 18 with runners in scoring position, but near the end of the game, they started coming up with some big hits. We haven't seen that very often, Bernie, where they're not good in that area for most of the game, and then all of a sudden they come alive a little bit at the end.
Yeah, I mean, listen, they faced Shohei Ohtani, who was just outstanding, and the Cardinals were down by 2 runs when he left the game. But, from the 6th inning on, the Redbirds outscored the Dodgers 4-0. And I was just doing a little bit of math on this. And over the final 4 innings, 6, 7, 8, 9, in addition to scoring the 4 runs, I mean, the Cardinals were 8 for 19. You know, Nootbaar had a couple of RBIs. Walker had a huge hit. Mason Wynn was setting stuff up. They walked a couple times. Wynn had a stolen base. I mean, there was just there was a lot of action. They were really pressing it. There was a lot of stuff going on, and it was fun baseball, you know. And I like when their offense diversifies a little bit, where they do. I hate to use the term small ball because all that is smart baseball, really. But just to see them find different ways to score runs without hitting a home run.
Gutsy decision by Brendan Donovan to put a bunt down there with 2 outs, but he read the defense and he made a smart decision.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm talking about. I know everybody wants to call it small ball, and it's okay to call it small ball, but that's smart baseball. That was just a smart play. It wasn't like, well, I'm going to give myself up and move the runner over. It was like, well, wait a minute. They're not defending this. So, okay, I'll take the freebie. That's just smart thinking. It was wonderfully executed.
All right, so Jordan Walker, since coming off the injured list on July 18th, his numbers aren't eye-popping, but they're a lot better than they'd been before. He's hitting .290 with a .730 OPS. Of the 17 games in that period, he has at least 1 hit in all but 4 games. So 13 of the 17 games, he's collected at least 1 hit. He's got multi-hits, and I believe 4 or 5 of them. We've seen this before from Walker. It's been such a start and stop nature to him and him getting going. But it feels like this time around, maybe there's something he can truly build off of.
Yeah, it was tough because he was on a roll before he went on the IL with that wrist inflammation, you know, coming out of that Baltimore series. And then he came back. He was doing pretty good. And then once again, appendicitis. So to your point, you know, 2 different times he was making terrific progress, but had that momentum disrupted by injuries. So it took him a little time to unwind this time. But I tell you what, that game today where he was 3 for 5 with an RBI, scored a run, he had great at bats, was hitting the ball hard. I mean, I know the one was a pop-up that they didn't catch. I get that. But still, I mean, a 3-hit game from Jordan Walker, you'll take that every time because he's got to have a lot more games like that. But we've liked what we've seen lately.
So Gorman had the home run yesterday, and then the line drive hit. His hitting streak comes to an end today as he goes 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts. But Walker has the day today. I think to you and me, it's probably pretty obvious that we want to see these guys in the lineup every single day. I'm not sure if it's as obvious to the people who are filling out the lineup card every day, but you get these moments with these young players that this season was supposed to be about.
Well, it's easy for us to manage the team from a studio, or in my case, sitting at home in a studio. But listen, I would play Jordan Walker every day. I mean, I mean, every day. I don't care about matchups. Let him hit against righties and lefties. Mm-hmm. And the more reps he gets, the better he's going to become. And the more that I think the Cardinals will have a greater read on him, going into the offseason. I can see where Nolan Gorman, you don't want to run him out there against left-handed pitchers a lot, or, not much at all, even though he's had a little bit of success. But, going into today, I had a note on this in something, in my video today at STL Sports Central. Going into today, since May the 26th, among the 10 Cardinals that had 100 plate appearances since then, he was leading them in slugging. He was leading them in OPS. He only had 1 less homer than, Contreras and Burleson, but he did it in a lot fewer at-bats. So I think you and I were texting a little last night, and I understand Ali Marbles basically has said, well, Burleson played his way into a regular job where he's going to be in there all the time. Well, it seems to me that Gorman has done a lot to do the same thing, at least against right-handed pitching. And I guess I'm confused. I'll put it candidly. I guess I'm confused by the double standard, because there seems to be a double standard. And I with so much at stake with Gorman and Walker, I don't understand that, frankly.
What do you make of the news today about Nolan Arenado going down to Jupiter to begin a rehab assignment? He's going to report to Jupiter on Friday, and according to the reporting, could appear in some games pretty soon. Generally, we see guys go to Memphis or go to Springfield more often. This sending Arenado to Jupiter just seems odd to me. It feels like there's more to it. Maybe I'm being Captain Conspiracy Theorist over here.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess he knows what he needs, and of course they're going to defer to a veteran because they always do, especially someone of his stature. That's just the way this franchise has been run for a long time now. But gosh.
Do you want to hear my conspiracy? I'm not trying to interrupt you, Bernie.
No, I know because I was searching for words because the whole Arenado thing, it's like, oh, now what? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay, so that's the team's complex. Medical's down there. Everything's down there. If they're going to shut him down, it's a lot easier to do that in Jupiter where he has easy access to all the facilities as opposed to somewhere else. I don't know. If I'm being conspiracy theory, that's okay. That's where my head would go.
It's entertainment. It's okay to throw out some conspiracy theories. I like it. But listen, if he comes back, where do they go? We know where they're going to go because I asked Ali Marmol about it Tuesday on KMOX. He said flat out, as long as Nolan Arenado's here, he'll play. He'll be in the lineup. He's a Hall of Famer. He's a leader. He's one of the most respected players in baseball. He'll play. He's in the lineup. So he made that very clear. So that means what for Nolan Gorman in that scenario? Will he play at DH mostly? I would hope so. You know why? One nugget I came up with earlier today. Nolan Gorman has been the Cardinals' best DH this year. His numbers are fantastic when he's used at DH. Yes, he's actually got better numbers than Ivan Herrera at DH. And so I'm scratching my head. You got Nolan Arenado, who's like 45% above league average when he's the DH. Why does he only have 83 plate appearances doing that?
That's a great question. I don't have an answer.
I don't get it. Let me holler a little bit. You know me. I like to be emotional. Is this a runway season or not? Could you please make up your mind what this is? Because if Nolan Gorman is your best designated hitter, but he only has 83 plate appearances doing it, I don't see a runway. I see a guy sitting down when they play, these random guys that they need to be off their feet this day. They give them a rest. And Gorman's sitting. Is it a runway or not? I'm tired of the word because I'm not sure it's all that it's cracked up to be.
I'm tired of the word as well. On that note, Bernie, we thank you for your time. Before we get you out of here, can we get a little bit about our friends over at Saliga?
You and I always make each other laugh. I love it. All right, yes. Hey, Saliga Heating Cooling's a Daikin Comfort dealer, been taking care of the Miklas family. Great care of us for the last 16, 17 years. And yeah, of course, because the Saliga family continuously has been taking care of St. Louis family since 1927. I mean, they're coming up on 100 years of just the great work that they do. They have the best and most trustworthy customer service in St. Louis. And again, this has been coming. They've been doing this for nearly 100 years. What does that say for credibility? I'm serious. What does that say about a track record in terms of trustworthiness and reliability, professionalism, prompt service? And I'll throw in one more thing about Saliga Heating and Cooling is, in our experience, they have never tried to talk us into something that would be a more expensive solution. They do the opposite thing. They look to save us money, and they have saved us money by saying, well, wait a minute, you don't have to buy this. We can do it with this, and it's going to cost you a lot less. They've done that repeatedly. And that's why you should check out their Saliga's Priority Club. It's a maintenance plan that's going to save you money by extending the life of your current equipment. We're in that Priority Club, and we have saved money, and we have extended the life of our equipment. So anybody who wants to find out more, just go to SaligaHeatingandCooling.com. Thank you, Matt.
If something happens to you, what happens to your family? Will they struggle financially? Will they be able to afford the home you built together? With Ethos, you can get life insurance coverage in minutes. Get up to $2 million in coverage for as little as $2 a day. All online with no medical exam. Just answer a few health questions. Get your free quote at ethos.com/life. That's ethos.com/life. Rates may vary. Billed monthly. Sample rate 10-year term life policy for a 35-year-old healthy non-smoking male.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2025 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aid.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Pauley telling you about i3 Broadband, the internet service provider at my home. One of the great things, I live a life where it's just like, what are the things that we can take off my list of worries? And I never have to worry about the internet being down. I never have to worry about me feeling like I'm spending too much money on the internet. I never have to worry about the internet not being fast enough to do just what I need to do when I'm on my computer and handle all the streaming devices and everything that we have in our home. i3 Broadband is fantastic. Everything is underground, by the way, which is great. That means when there's bad weather, it's not going to just knock you off. You're not going to have those micro dropouts that I know I used to have all the time when I had the cable company. So, and I'm spending less money. That's people always want to know about, well, how much money is you're talking about all these things. This has to cost a ton of money. No, I've got the 2 gig up, 2 gig down package. That's upload, download package. I'm talking like I'm some sort of like internet expert. I just know it's fast. And I spend less money on that than when I did when I was with the cable company and I got the 1 gig download and then whatever they did upload because they didn't mirror their speeds the way i3 does. Basically what I'm saying is i3 is awesome, and if they're available in your area, you would love them as well. Check it out for yourself. Go to their website, put your address in, i3broadband.com, the letter I, the number 3, i3broadband.com.
Hello, I'm Missouri State Treasurer Vivek Malik. August 14th is National Able Savings Day, a time to highlight how ABLE accounts empower individuals with disabilities. Our More ABLE program helps Missourians save for everyday needs without losing public benefits. To celebrate, we are offering a $25 match for anyone who opens a new account in August. Earnings grow tax-free and contributions qualify for a state tax reduction. Let's help more Missourians build financial independence. Learn more at moable.com.
Paid for by the Missouri State Treasurer's Office.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson. Paid for by Action Matters. Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textingterms.us. Texting enrolls you for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop to opt out.
Attention parents of children who have used the gaming platform known as Roblox. If your child was a victim of sexual abuse or harm of any kind while using the Roblox platform, you may be entitled to compensation. Roblox is facing multiple high-profile lawsuits, including an ongoing class action, alleging it failed to protect users from foreseeable dangers that led to the grooming, exploitation, and sexual abuse of minors on the platform. Claims allege Roblox turned a blind eye to predators, unsafe games, and deceptive monetization practices that targeted children. Victims were contacted through in-game chats and coerced into private conversations on third-party apps. If you believe your child may have been a victim of grooming, sexual abuse, or harm of any kind while using the Roblox platform, you may be entitled to a cash settlement. Text our helpline now to find out if you have a viable compensation claim against Roblox. Text GONE to 32 32 32. That's GONE to 32 32 32. GONE to 32 32 32.
Are you looking to hire? ZipRecruiter finds the best candidate for your job fast. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
It's never too early to start thinking about your retirement journey, and it's never too late either. You just need to know that the steps may look a little different. Listen to Wealth and Wisdom with Gary Goldberg, Saturday mornings at 7 here on KMOX.
Now, back to the Gray Bar Sports Open Live on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Back at it as we have you for just 1 hour tonight. We got started a little late because of Cardinals baseball. They're off tomorrow. Back at it on Friday. City SC, they are going to be returning to action this upcoming weekend as well. On Saturday, back over at Energizer Park, they're going to match up against Nashville, and we're very happy to welcome back onto the program. He is an analyst with Apple TV and MLS Season Pass. He is Dax McCarty. Dax, thanks for taking some time with us. How are you?
No problem, guys. I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Getting close to my bedtime here, though. I gotta say.
Are you out in Florida? Is that where you're based out of?
Yep, just moved back down to Florida. Born and raised here, and after traversing the continental United States throughout my MLS career, I've settled back in Florida.
How much do you look back on that fondly? Because when you play as long as you did, you got to be in so many different spots, and by doing that, you experienced something that 99% of people don't experience, and living in all those places and the cultures and the people, it's got to be something that you look back on fondly.
I couldn't have said it better myself. I think that's one of the beauties of this career is that if you have an open mind, if you're willing to accept the fact that, there's a very small percentage of human beings that get the chance to be a professional athlete, and there's an even smaller percentage of those, minimal percentage of those that actually get to go on and be a 1 or 2 club, 2-team player. That's just the reality of professional sports. And so if you can wrap your head around the fact that you might be doing a little bit of moving, it can be a very fulfilling life. You get to meet new people. You get to live in different cities. You get to experience different cultures. You get to experience different parts of the United States that you wouldn't otherwise get to experience. So I absolutely look back on my time in MLS fondly. I embraced every city that I was in. I wish I could be Kai Kamara. I wish I could play in more cities, quite honestly. I really love my time in MLS.
Well, we appreciate you staying up late with us tonight. Just a few things about City before we do get you out of here. They get a little bit of a break before rolling into this matchup on Saturday. When you are a struggling team the way City is, can being able to take a breath, how much of a help can that be?
Yeah, it's a big help, quite honestly. When you're in really good form and when your team is cruising and you're on a roll, and you've just found your groove, I think the breaks actually can break up that rhythm. But when you're a St. Louis City team who is, let's be honest, they're a team in transition. They're a team that is still trying to find their identity, even this far into the season, with an interim manager in charge. And I would say, and the most optimistic St. Louis City fan can say fighting for their playoff lives, but the realist in me says that there's absolutely no chance they have to make the playoffs this year. So you're looking for any excuse to reset, refresh your minds, refresh your bodies, and then go again and try to play as well as you can in the last part of the season and maybe build a little momentum going into 2026. So that's the reality right now for St. Louis City. In the year that they've had. So I think it's a good thing for this group of players and for David Critchley to continue to fine-tune the things that he wants to see from his group, because I really like some of the things that he's done. I love some of the things he's done tactically. They've been much more competitive. They've been much more fun to watch. But unfortunately for David Critchley and all of St. Louis, that hasn't translated always into good results.
Yeah, I think what you just hit on is kind of what the transition we've seen in the last month or so, because when the change happens and Critchley comes in, the talking point is kind of, well, if this team finds itself, they still have a chance of, they're not that far out of the playoffs. And then as they have had some not so great matches since then, what you're saying is correct. This is not a team that's going to the postseason. And I know you hit on it a little bit just now, but what do you do as a team to make sure that you can still put out really solid efforts game in, game out, even if you're not playing for a lot for this season?
No, well, you have to play for pride, first of all. St. Louis is a soccer city. The supporters in St. Louis are absolutely phenomenal. I only got the chance to play there once at the end of my career when I was with Atlanta United, but I was so impressed with the atmosphere. I was so impressed with everything that they are building in St. Louis. And I'll be honest, players are playing for jobs. Mm-hmm. That's what this business is. That's what this business means. If you have an unsuccessful season, then every single player and every coach and everyone in the sporting department, everyone feels the pressure of that. And they should feel the pressure of that because this is a high-level business. These athletes are well paid, they're well trained, and they have an entire city supporting them and wanting them to do well. And when you have a down season, no one should feel safe. So that's what these players feel right now. And look, there will be turnover. Some of the players, quite frankly, probably would like to move on and will move on. And then other players really love the situation, and they love the city and the training facilities and the stadium and the supporters, and they want their contract renewed for next year, because I can promise you that in MLS, teams that are built the right way with the proper coaches and the right infrastructure, they don't stay at the bottom long. So I know St. Louis has some really smart people, running things for them. I don't have any doubts that they'll get back to the upper echelon of Major League Soccer with the right decisions being made.
How startling can it be for a player? Lutz Pfannenstiel has been very open in his disappointment about the way the team has played. He's basically put players on notice. There's already been some players that they have moved on from. Is it an uncomfortable, startling feeling when you're sitting there in the locker room and you know really well that your job is kind of on the line on an every week basis?
Yeah, it can be uncomfortable for sure. But I also think that professional athletes that are successful, they need to live in that pressure. They need to embrace that pressure. I'm not one for cliches, but honestly, pressure is a privilege. It really is when you're in the position that these guys are in right now. And I think it's good to put pressure on players that aren't performing, because you're going to find out one of two things. You're going to find out if a player can accept that pressure. You're going to find out if that player can accept accountability and responsibility to make the situation right. Or you're going to find out if that player crumbles under pressure and doesn't want to be part of high-level games, because that's who you choose. That's how you find out who to keep on the roster and who to build on moving forward and who to get rid of. So, look, I believe St. Louis has 10 games left, if I'm not mistaken. And those are quite frankly massive 10 games for the club, for the players that represent the badge, and for the city of St. Louis, because if you end the season poorly and you lose a bunch of games and you see the players quitting, that leaves a really bad taste in everyone's mouth going into the offseason. But if you finish the season strong and you string together a couple of wins and you put together a couple of wins in front of your home fans on home soil, then you go into the offseason not making the playoffs, but with a better taste in your mouth. And you have something to build on going into the offseason, going into preseason. Hope, maybe with David Critchley or maybe with a new manager. I guess that's going to be the biggest decision that Lutz Pfannenstiel has coming up is what to do about the manager situation.
City's going to be back at it coming up this weekend as they are at home. They take on Nashville. That's going to be a Saturday night game. Of course, you can watch it on MLS Season Pass on Apple TV. Dax, just for folks who still haven't maybe made that plunge and want to take advantage of not just watching City, but watching the entire league. You guys do such a great job. Tell folks about the package that is MLS Season Pass.
No, I really appreciate the kind words. I'm biased, obviously, but it's my first year doing this media stuff, and I really enjoy it. And I think we do really good work. We have a couple of different shows. We have a couple of different areas for people to watch games. You have MLS Countdown, and you have MLS 360, and you have all these, and you have MLS Wrap Up. You have all these different avenues to watch games, and that's the most important thing for people is where they get their football from, where they get their source of MLS from. It's important, and I think we do a good job. Hopefully people agree that watch, but what we try to do is have fun. We try to make sure that people are educated on what they're seeing. It's really difficult to cover 30 teams in Major League Soccer. That's one of the hardest things that you have to be able to do, but I think we try our best to do a good job, and hopefully people agree. So tune in. We'll be covering St. Louis, Nashville.
Very good. Dax McCarty, thank you so much for the time. Get good sleep tonight, and we'll talk to you again down the line.
I'll try. Cheers,
right. Very good.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate you as well. Dax McCarty joining us here on the program. Appreciate you joining us, him joining us again out on the East Coast a little later there, but doing just we generally get those guys on in the 6 o'clock hour, but we didn't have a 6 o'clock hour tonight because of Cardinals baseball. So glad that Dax would be flexible with his schedule, and we really, really appreciate him. All right, nothing but Cardinals between now and the end of the show. If you want to chime in on anything going on with the team, you can do so by calling or texting 314-436-7900, 314-436-7900. You can tweet at me at Matt Pauley on air. You can also send me send a message into the chat on the video stream. For those of you who are watching us, we've got more coming up in just a moment right here on KMOX.
If you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt, medical bills, or personal loans, help is here. As Americans continue to pile up astounding credit card debt levels with high interest rates to make ends meet, debt relief is being made available through national debt relief that could reduce a significant portion of what you owe if you qualify. For many, continuing to struggle making minimum monthly payments could take 25 or more years to pay off. National Debt Relief has already helped over 550,000 Americans reduce their debt by negotiating directly with their creditors. When you call, you'll be amazed at how much you can save and how quickly you can become debt-free. If you want off the debt treadmill, call National Debt Relief today. You don't need to declare bankruptcy, and you may qualify for significant debt relief. Call the Relief Hotline now to check what savings you may qualify for. Dial 800-476-3131. 800-476-3131. That's 800-476-3131.
Calling all future sportscasters. Sharpen your skills and learn from the best of the Missouri Broadcasters Association Sportscasters Forum Tuesday, September 16th in St. Louis. Join Cardinals beat reporters, broadcasters, and the legendary John Rooney, the voice of the Cardinals, for insider sessions on play-by-play, interviewing, reporting, and more. Then cap the day with a Cards-Reds game at Busch Stadium. Open to college students and broadcasting pros. Just $10 for students, lunch, and a game ticket. Space is limited. Register by September 2nd at MissouriBroadcasters.org.
You are a successful electrical contractor, but you plus a dedicated team supporting your project from day one? That's taking your productivity to the next level. And Graybar can help you get there. Your relationships plus our relationships. Your capabilities plus our job site services. Your challenges plus our technical specialists. You alone can get the job done, but you plus Graybar, that's smart business. Yep, Graybar does that.
You've got a ton of equity in your home. You're sitting on a gold mine, and you could do so much with all that cash, like travel, invest it, or pay off debt, but you can't touch it unless you sell your home. But you really don't want to move. And besides, homes are sitting on the market for a long time these days. You're trapped, right? Well, not with TrueHold. With TrueHold, you can cash out your equity in as little as 30 days. And listen, you don't have to move. You can stay in the home you love as a renter. So that's TrueHold's Sell and Stay program. You cash out your entire home's value and stay put. TrueHold even covers property taxes, property insurance, and essential repairs. So imagine using that equity to travel, invest, or pay off debt and stay in your home. It's brilliant, especially in this slow market. You get an all-cash offer now by calling 1-855-300-9993. You can also visit TrueHold.com, the smarter, faster way to cash out on your home's value without moving. That's TrueHold.com.
Now, back to the Graybar Sports Open Line on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Back at it here on KMOX with the Graybar Sports Open Line, taking you until 8 o'clock this evening. If you want to chime in on the program, you can do so. We've got phone lines open, text line open, tweets are open, the video stream chats are open. Kind of taking this as a hybrid, normal sports open line / Cardinals postgame show as the Cardinals just wrapped up their series against the Dodgers a little while ago, picking up a win today and taking 2 out of 3. It is time for us to go ahead and name our peak performer. It is brought to you by Game Day Men's Health. Game Day Men's Health. With Game Day Men's Health, you are able to get back to the top of your game. You know, after a game like this, there's certainly a number of options, but I wanted to focus in on the work that the Cardinals are getting once again from Kyle Leahy. And Leahy went through a little bit of a lull there for just a bit. The Cardinals were very smart in kind of taking the foot off the pedal. Oliver Marmol talked about it earlier this week on Gas House Gang, that if there was one player from a pitching standpoint and a relief pitching standpoint that they have a little bit of a red flag on, that it was Leahy. And now he is seemingly right back to where he was before. And you look at some of his performance. So today he throws 31 pitches, just 31 pitches, covering 2 2/3 innings, and has 4 strikeouts, no walks. This year, 55 strikeouts, 19 walks, and 62 innings. His last 2 outings, he's covered 4 1/3, has only given up 1 hit, no runs. This followed a month of July. He had a solid 2.63 ERA. That was a really good bounce back month for him after he had a 4.40 ERA in the month of June. When you go month by him on his ERA, so in April, it was at 1.02. He was fantastic. In May, he had an ERA at 3, which was fine. In June, that's when it jumped to 4.40, and then it's come back down to 2.63, and he has yet to give up a run here in the month of August. So good stuff from Kyle Leahy, and that's why we are going with him as our peak performer for today. I'm going to you're going to get sick of me here saying this. I'll just tell you right now, you are going to absolutely get sick of me saying this. As long as the Cardinals are kind of in a spot where, not that they're buried, but it doesn't really look like they're in legit playoff contention. And with the win today, the Cardinals are 5.5 games back of a playoff spot. That's not insurmountable, but I would not really consider that contention. And now they've got 3 teams that they have to jump over to get into a playoff spot. The Giants are a half game in front of the Cardinals. The Reds are 2.5 games in front of the Cardinals. And then, if you haven't noticed, the New York Mets are now the team that's holding the final wild card spot in the National League. The Mets have really fallen apart here recently. They've only won 2 of their last 10. They've lost 4 straight games. They've really started to fall back in the NL East as the Philadelphia Phillies have now extended their lead in that division to 2.5 games. And all of a sudden, the Mets, they are the final team, playoff team in the National League. I'm a big believer in the Mets. I did not expect to see what's happening with them to happen, and I'm going to be curious to see what they have to do to get out of this. Both those teams in New York, because the Yankees are kind of in a similar spot. The Yankees are holding on to the final playoff spot in the American League. They've got the 3rd wild card spot. They're a game and a half up on both the Guardians and the Rangers at this point. In the American League East, the Yankees have fallen all the way to 6.5 games back. Now, they just got Aaron Judge back. That is certainly going to help them, but they have completely forgotten how to play defense. So just really weird things happening with the teams in New York for sure, for those of you who may not be totally paying attention to everything going on in the world of baseball. But yeah, look, I don't think we're at a point now where we talk about the Cardinals being in like legit playoff contention, and I'd love for that to change. I'd love for them to go on some sort of miraculous run, and for the Mets and the Reds and the Giants and the Padres and all those teams to kind of start falling back and something crazy to happen. I don't think it's going to happen, but I also haven't closed the door on that happening. I don't think it's an impossibility, but until that starts to happen, from a fan standpoint, I think it's about enjoying the moments. And I talked about that a lot on Friday, because I thought not Friday, on what day is today? Today's Wednesday, so Monday. I talked a lot about that on Monday when they took the first game of the series against the Dodgers, because honestly, that Monday game was one of my favorite games of the year. There's a handful of games that I really, really enjoyed this year, more so than the others. And I loved that game on Monday. I loved the way it played out. I thought it was one of the most entertaining games that the Cardinals had played this year. Now they take a series from the Dodgers. And we talked about this with Bernie earlier. The Dodgers are not exactly a world-beating team right now. I don't totally know what's going on with them. I know they've been wrecked by injuries, but still, you look at that roster and you look at the players that they are running out all the time. I don't understand why they go through these periods sometimes where they don't look great. Part of it just feels like the team is not well constructed, which when you have injuries, sometimes you try to patch holes. I don't know. I don't have much of an answer here. I think the Dodgers should be better than they are. They're still 66-49. Last time I checked, they still had the best odds to win the World Series. Maybe they're one of those teams. Remember, like I think of like NBA teams that were in the middle of a dynasty, that they would just flip a switch when it got to the playoffs, and they would go on. Like, the Lakers were that at one point with Kobe, like that group. Maybe that's what this Dodgers team is. Maybe they're a team that isn't really built for the regular season. They're more built for the post. But I say they're not built for the regular season, and they're 66-49. They're 17 games over .500. So that's not really a true statement as well. It's just you look at it from an optic standpoint. You look at the Dodgers and you say they just don't look as good as they should look. And the Cardinals took advantage of it as they were able to take 2 of 3. Now they come back home. I'm going to be really curious to see what the Cardinals look like against the Cubs, because the Cubs right now are fighting. They are fighting for the top of the division. They've been in the top spot in the division for much of the year, but they're not anymore. The Brewers have moved into that spot. And if you haven't been paying attention, the Brewers are just once again doing what they do, and that is exceed expectations on an every year basis. And might not be a year where they've exceeded expectations more than this year. This really felt like the year where the Brewers were going to fall back. This felt like the year where it wasn't going to be somehow using smoke and mirrors and zippers and bubble gum and everything else to keep things together. This felt like the year where it was all going to kind of fall apart for them. They lost Willie Adames. There was a lot of things, and they've just played to the best record in Major League Baseball. They are the only team in baseball that has won more than 60% of their games this year. Not another team has won more than 60% of their games, and there you have the Brewers with this 69-44 record. And they do it in kind of a weird way. They're not a big-time home run hitting team, yet they find a way to score runs. Sometimes you look at teams that are really successful and you can say, okay, we can do things the way they do things and we can have success. We talk about it a lot in the NFL. We always refer to the NFL as a copycat league. We don't hear that really talked about a lot in Major League Baseball. And I think it's because there's more to identities of teams because of the way they draft and player development and all of that. Where in the NFL, it's kind of easy to make changes on the fly. But from a copycat standpoint, you can't copycat the Brewers. They do things that other teams don't know how to do. So the Cubs are now 3.5 games back of Milwaukee in the NL Central. That's either going to be 3 or 4 at the end of tonight because the Brewers are playing right now. They are matched up against the Braves. And what do you know? Braves took a 1-0 lead in this game. And since then, the Brewers have scored 5 unanswered runs, and they lead by a 5-1 score. And Jose Quintana is going out there and just dealing. Jose Quintana is basically like their 5th starter, and he's got a 3.45 ERA. They're doing it with pitching. They're finding a way to score runs. They've made some small roster moves this year that have played big dividends. We're getting Quinn Priester for almost nothing. Andrew Vaughn's a guy that they've brought in, and he's done a really nice job, and he's contributed to their run scoring. So the Cubs are fighting for that spot in the division, and right now the Brewers have control of it. So Cubs are playing for a lot this weekend, and the Cardinals would love to come out and have some success. And you look at that first game of the series, they're going to face off against a guy in Matthew Boyd, who on paper, this series looks like a tough series for the Cardinals, especially because of who 2 of the 3 starting pitchers are. It's 2 of the same 3 starting pitchers that the Cardinals saw the last time they played the Cubs in St. Louis, and that's Matthew Boyd and Shota Imanaga, a couple lefties. And we know that the Cardinals are not as good against lefties as they are against righties. So they're going to face Boyd on Friday night. He's 11-4. They're going to face Imanaga coming up on Sunday Night Baseball. He's 8-4, and then they've got Colin Ray in the middle on the Saturday night game. But if they can find a way to win this series, that means they're going to have to they're going to have to win a game that either Boyd or Imanaga starts. So it's going to be a challenge for this team. But then you look at the rest of this series or the rest of the homestand that's coming up, and they've got an opportunity to have a little bit of success. They've got the Rockies coming in. I know that they just lost a series to the Rockies in Colorado. You can argue that might have been the low point of the season for this team. If nothing else, that probably was the moment that resulted in them for sure being sellers. Can they have some success against Colorado? Are the Yankees still going to be playing some not-so-great baseball when they come into town, coming up not this weekend, but next weekend? Those are your 3 teams you're matched up against here over the next 9 games, all at home. See what things look like when all that gets done. But the bottom line is, I think, going out and enjoying the good moments, and especially in this Dodgers series, That Monday win was fantastic. The win today, it was a good win. More importantly, it was a win that allowed them to take 2 out of 3. We're going to take one more break. We'll come back, and we're going to wrap up this edition of the program. Again, if you want to chime in on anything Cardinals related, we will gladly take your phone calls, your text messages, your tweets. 314-436-7900, 314-436-7900. That's how you call or text. You tweet at me, at Matt Pauley on air. We are back with more in just a moment. This is a Gray Bar Sports Open Line on KMOX.
Hey guys, Glover here from my good friends at Ophthalmology Associates. So my doctor is Dr. Greg Birdie, and he's my doctor, and he is my friend. He is a very, very good, very thorough doctor. His longtime partner, Dr. Malhotra, Dr. Royer, Dr. Brusati, they are the doctor's doctors. Why do they call them this? Because about 250 local and regional doctors go to the doctor's doctors for their eye care. Now, are their eyes more important than yours? No, of course not. But it's a real indicator that they are legit when other doctors go to them when they could go anywhere in the world for their eye care. Whether you're there for a comprehensive exam or you're there for a surgical consultation on LASIK or cataracts, you're going to be treated with respect and professionalism every single time. Call 314-966-5000 or log on to youridoc.com. That's 314-966-5000 or youridoc.com for the fine doctors at Ophthalmology Associates and the Cornea and Laser Vision Institute. 314-966-5000 or youridoc.com.
Get ready, St. Louis. 2 acclaimed performers will headline a summer finale on the Muni stage Thursday, August 28th. International music icon Diana Ross and multi-Grammy Award-winning artist John Baptiste. And this is your chance to win a premium VIP experience to see the show. VIP includes a pair of box seats, a pair of VIP pre-party tickets, free drinks at the intermission bar, and a free parking pass. Register now online at KMOX.com/contest for your chance to win.
Is thinning hair or receding hairline making you self-conscious? Stop feeling embarrassed about thinning hair and start looking and feeling your best with Hair Grow by New Nordic. Available online at Amazon, Walmart.com, and NewNordicUSA.com, or in stores at your local CVS.
Summer is here, and it's time to plan your style staycation with Bob's Discount Furniture, where you can find everyday low prices on the hottest styles. The comfiest Consumer Reports recommended mattresses, fast, friendly delivery, and flexible financing to fit your budget. Go to MyBobs.com for details. So stock up and score everyday low prices, delivered on time all summer long at your nearest store or at MyBobs.com.
Oh, my Bob! Bob's Discount Furniture.
Hi, I'm Andrew Suntrup. For over 30 years, St. Louis and St. Charles families have trusted Suntrup Buick GMC. As a proud family-owned dealership, we offer more than just great deals. We offer peace of mind. At Suntrup Buick GMC, you'll always find a huge selection of inventory to choose from, unmatched customer service, and every vehicle comes with our exclusive lifetime powertrain protection program. Visit in store or online at SuntrupBuickGMC.com. Save more at Suntrup Buick GMC.
Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports Open Line. Once again, Matt Pauley on KMOX.
Back at it for just a few more minutes as we start to wrap up this edition of a Gray Bar Sports Open Line. A programming/event note for you. Tomorrow evening, things are going to sound a little bit different from 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock, as it is going to be our KMOX Soccer Showcase program with City SC. I'm not going to be on tomorrow night. Jen Cease is going to be in for me. We've got the old first grade parents orientation for our daughter's elementary school tomorrow. So looking forward to that. So luckily that happened on a Cardinals off night, and I can go be a dad tomorrow evening. And Jen's going to do a great job with a few other folks that are going to be involved. But Hot Shots Lindbergh tomorrow night, and City SC's Jake Girdwood-Reich's going to be there, and you're going to have an opportunity to get autographs and photos and things like that. They do limit the number of people who can get the autographs and the photos. If it's a huge crowd, in my times doing those, I think everybody has always gotten their autograph for their photo, but they say that just as the disclaimer in case, a million people show up. But don't let that be a reason to not show up, I guess is what I'm trying to say, because good chance you'll be able to meet Jake and get a picture, get an autograph, something like that. Again, tomorrow's show is going to be at Hot Shots Schatz Lindbergh, 6 to 8 o'clock. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's all presented by Michelob Ultra, and it's going to be happening during these Sports Open Line hours coming up tomorrow night. So hopefully you're able to enjoy that. Just a couple more thoughts on the Cardinals before we get out of here today, because again, solid win today over the Dodgers. They win by the 5-3 score, and they take 2 out of 3. I think when you look at what the bullpen did today, obviously, I was about to say that's best case scenario. Like, obviously, that's best case scenario. Your bullpen covered 5 innings without giving up a run. I'm not breaking any news when I say that's best case scenario. The point I'm trying to get to is this bullpen still has the opportunity to be pretty good, and this bullpen still has the opportunity to help this team win games. Now, this bullpen has the opportunity to not be good and to not help the team win games. And I think comparing and contrasting what happened yesterday to what happened today is a good example. In yesterday's game, the Cardinals find themselves down. It's a 5-2 game. They score a run in the top of the 7th. It's 5-3. So at 2 runs against the Dodgers bullpen, you feel like maybe you've got an opportunity to do something. Well, then all of a sudden, things just go terribly wrong for the team. And you had Ryan Fernandez really, really struggle yesterday, and Andre Granillo was not a lot better. And the next thing you know, the Dodgers have scored 12 runs, and they win by a 12-6 score. And to that point, and I'm a big believer in just because something happened in a game doesn't mean that exact same thing would have happened under different circumstances. It probably would not have, but the Cardinals did score 1 run in the 8th inning and then 2 runs in the 9th yesterday. So if the Dodgers don't put up those 5 runs in the 7th inning and everything else plays out the way it played out, that could have been a very, very different game. So yesterday was Fernandez and Granillo who struggled. I'm a believer in Ryan Fernandez. I'm hopeful that he can get back to being the guy that he was last year and start to once again progress from there, because the underlying stuff says he's got that in him. He hasn't showed it this year. He has not showed it this year. He had a really long time at AAA, and he came back, looked good his first time out, did not look good yesterday. That's got to be another one of the goals here, because anytime you have somebody with the profile of Ryan Fernandez, and he profiles out as somebody who he could be a closer at some point if he puts everything together. Now, he's not putting everything together right now, and nobody's talking about him being a closer of the future right now. All you're trying to say is get this guy to being somebody who you can really trust and really rely on once again, the way you had last year. It seems like there's still a little bit of a road for him to go down to be able to get to that point once again. But yesterday, the bullpen let down. They lost. Today, the bullpen was so good, and the bullpen gave them the opportunity to stay in that game. And eventually, the bats did enough that they were able to get the win. So I think that is somewhat indicative, and I think that represents what it's going to be a lot for this team this year, just the opportunities that you're going to give to some young relief pitchers and see what they are able to do with them. All right, again, City Spotlight's going to be coming up tomorrow night. I'll be back with you for Cardinals baseball on Friday right here on KMOX.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson. Paid for by Action Matters. Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textingterms.us. Text